Folks. Thanks for joining us. Hi, folks. This is Mike Haven, who's with us. I'm excited to introduce Mike Haven. I am Sanjay Basavaraju. I take care of customers at SignEasy. Mike, thanks for joining us. Mike heads the global legal operations at Intel, and he loves baseball. That's what I've known personally. So he also like a big fanatic of data, and he takes most of the decisions based on data. That's what I've heard. We're excited to have you here, Mike. So I just want to like start with the origin story. Like, how did legal ops come to become part of you? I know you have a very big legal background, like a very long legal background. So just a start of that would help us get some context as to what fascinates you about legal ops, CLM, and data. Yeah.
So I was a law firm partner. First of all, thank you for having me. It's great to be here and really nice to see you again, Sanjay. But I was a law firm partner back in 2012, and I had a great practice, sort of a cross between IP and employment litigation. It was trade secrets litigation, and it was a fun niche, and I was enjoying it. But there was a movement starting to emerge in the in-house world around law department management and tightening up processes around law department management. And I saw that as a very big opportunity in a lot of ways. The legal industry had been stuck in the dark ages for a really long time and needed improvement and needed a lot more discipline. And so I was fascinated by a small group of people who were starting to do that at that time, and I eventually decided to go in-house and manage litigation and also learn about this new evolving field of legal operations. And I just fell in love with the work. It's a really interesting way to make a living. And it's an important way to make a living because the legal industry needs change, and we're here to change it both on that macro level and also in the micro levels in our organizations. And it's a very satisfying career.
Yeah, could you tell me more about this dark ages that you spoke about? Like, what was that time like? Because most of us can't imagine like what was that like to handle so many contracts without any sort of an assistance, whether that's tech assistance or having a growing community of legal ops like being there. Like, what was it like? What was it like when you started out?
Well,
That
think about like just communicating back in those days when I first started practicing. You would literally pick up the landline telephone and dial somebody and call them. And if they weren't there, you'd leave them a voice message and wait for them to call you back. If you needed to send somebody a letter and you needed to get it to them quickly, you would use a fax machine. We don't do those things anymore. When we call people, typically we're using a mobile device. When we need to send something to people, we use email or something even better than email, perhaps. And so, translated to how a contract gets done, think about how you would send a contract to the other side to review. You didn't have email necessarily. Like that came along pretty early in my career, yes, but like at the beginning, like people weren't using it. So you needed to send a contract to the other side. You would send it to them in a fax machine, and they would have to go through the contract with the red pen and make their red lines and then fax it back to you. Um, and think about how much time that would take, and how far we've come in the 25 years since then.
Yeah, yeah. So, but the fascinating thing is, I'm trying to relate the background that you came from. Like, you came from obviously the law background, but when I was in Clock, the community the event that I attended last year, it was very clear that the folks who come and practice legal ops are coming from different types of backgrounds. Why is that a fascinating trend for legal ops? And why do we need people from these such diverse backgrounds to come in? Like, what have we added coming into legal ops from different backgrounds, and what is it yet for us to like pick up and learn and move forward? Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to unpack there, but the thing about legal ops is that it requires a lot of disciplines of knowledge. So you need to have an understanding of obviously um, legal because you're operating in a legal environment. You have to have an understanding of finance. You have to have an understanding of procurement. You have to have an understanding of IT and technology. Um, there are a lot of disciplines that come into play in legal operations, and nobody comes into the role, into the field with all of them already. You're likely coming into the field, into the role with two of those many disciplines if you're fortunate. Maybe if you're like really advanced, you've got three. But you're gonna have to learn a lot on the job. And so the most important thing, the most important characteristic I look for in a legal operations professional is a growth mindset,
Mm,
curiosity, wanting to learn, a thirst for learning, and somebody who comes into the role with maybe a couple of those disciplines of expertise, but can quickly spin up on the many other disciplines that the role requires.
mhm. Awesome. So I think I've been kind of like following this what's happening with legal ops and what's happening with CLM parallelly, right? So we have a community kind of growing up, and also we have the CLM spaces of like heating up already. So just to kind of talk about when was the point when you felt that the legal ops is also ready, and you also have these tech sort of evolution that's happened together. When was that when you realized that both are at the stage where we can really value and really take so much value out of both those developments? Like when was that?
Yeah. It was sort of a chicken and egg thing, like which came first, the legal ops or the technology? Um, the technology was slowly evolving when legal ops became a thing. And legal ops, the field, has helped the technology evolve faster.
Mm,
And we've seen more investment in legal technology, and we've seen more development, and we've seen great strides in legal technology since the legal operations field came to fruition. But at the same time, the technology has helped make legal operations the valuable role that it is in organizations today. So they're symbiotic, and they're both essential elements of the ecosystem, the legal ecosystem that we're living in right now. But yeah, I recall, 10, 12 years ago, the CLM technology not being very great and struggling through trying to make it work well because we knew that it was going to be such a valuable technology, but it just wasn't quite there yet. Um, and in the last 10 years, it's just incredible,
mm,
the development and the evolution of the CLM space, and what it can do now and what it does do to drive top line revenue faster, to bring to get deals closed faster so the company can make more money. And that is a measurable, direct impact that legal operations has on the top line revenue of the company. And that's really important. So I impress that upon my team all the time.
wow, wow. That's amazing. So I think we'll get into a little bit of how that's helped, how the legal tech and CLM has helped us. But I just have one more question, like a follow-up question to this. Um, so I always believe that it's a paradox that the legal ops is trying to play in the corporation. So there is a sense of control at one end, and there's also the sense of decentralization of most of those workflows largely. So how does it go? Like, what do you think is the key motivator for a legal ops team? Like, what is it? What is the on a high level? What are they trying to do in a big corporation like a legal ops team?
Well, we're all trying to do the same thing, and that is drive value for our shareholders.
Yeah,
And that's really what it comes down to. Um, and so it's critical that the goals, the vision, and the mission and the goals of the legal operations team reflect or support the vision, mission, and goals of the legal organization, which should support the vision, mission, and goals of the company. And they all need to fit together.
yeah,
So it's really important that the legal operations team understands how the work that they're doing every day impacts the company in a positive way. The leader has to draw those lines for the team. Your work does this, which allows the legal team to do this for the company, and this is the impact that it's having. People need to hear that. It's really important because people are mission driven. They want to know that the work they're doing every day is meaningful and important. And so it's really important to tie the goals together.
mm. Yeah, and we are also in this constant state of being ready and not ready, right? As a legal ops team, when do we realize that we need tech to either support or assist or guide us, right? When do we decide that? So because we what do we need to be ready with to get into that? Or you say like jump in and start no embracing tech. Like how would you what are your thoughts there?
Technology always does one thing. What technology does is it automates processes.
Yeah,
And before you move to automation of a process, you need to make sure you have the right process, and the process um, is tight and not wasteful and as efficient as it can be. And then when you layer automation on top of a good process, you make magic.
yeah.
And that is the key. So going out, and I have to credit Steve Harmon with this analogy, which I still use, and it makes a ton of sense. Going out and buying a new set of golf clubs
Hmm.
is not going to fix my swing.
Yeah,
It's not going to make me a good golfer.
yeah,
I need to have a good swing first
yeah,
and then go out and buy the nice clubs
yeah,
that when I hit the ball correctly, make the ball go farther or whatever.
yeah.
But without the swing, it's useless. So similarly, we have to make sure that our processes are buttoned up, and then we layer technology on top of it, and you can do incredible things nowadays with the technology that's out there.
Yeah, yeah. I think that you said the right things. First, you need to have some sort of data strategy and some of the planning. Then you could do automation over it, and then you're obviously ready for what's coming or already come to us with this AI. So yeah, that makes total sense. So like what's it been for you, like for you personally, to have scaled companies with tech and adopted legal tech early on? What's it been like for you now that obviously we come out of those dark ages? I just want to get a sense of with AI, with data, with more teams collaborating together. What's it like in a big corporation?
My experience has been amazing. I have never seen anything like what I've seen in the last 2 years. Um, as far as lawyers being enthusiastic and excited about processes and technology. And all and the release of ChatGPT in November 2022 sort of instigated this um, revolution of sorts with lawyers in our organization, at least, excuse me, who are now suddenly really excited about finding use cases for generative AI
Mm.
and building out solutions that help make their work more efficient. Since when have lawyers ever done that in the past? They've adopted technology in the last 10 years. They've started using more technology, and I think lawyers are slowly becoming better at technology, but I've never seen this level of enthusiasm and excitement to go out and automate a process. But generative AI has sort of brought that excitement on, and that's been my experience. It's been amazing. Everybody wants to play with it.
Yeah, like I always thought law was this mothership and legal ops was like, no, but this as soon as you add ops to it, it just becomes a supporting function. Like for the first time, you see this lot of this knowledge from the legal ops, like getting like really influencing, inspiring the mothership, the law as a discipline. So what's fascinating to you when you meet your fellow folks like from maybe you worked with them before like a decade ago, like what do they say about technology catching up with them?
Just that they think it's so cool that the things that can be done with technology now. And I think like for a lot of people, they see what they can do at home with this technology. They see that um, you can take a picture
Mm,
of the contents of your refrigerator,
mm,
put that picture in GPT-4, and it will give you recipes you can make with the food that's left in your refrigerator.
awesome. Mm,
So, like they see like how they can do things at home that are so cool, and they think, "Wow, how can that translate to work? What can I do at work to make my life so much easier like that?" Um, and cut some of the tedious stuff out of their day and make work more enjoyable with this AI assistant. And people are asking about it and they want to know how they can do it too. So it's just amazing that we have so much interest.
yeah, no, Mike, you are a quintessential voice with everything that's happening now, and I follow you. And then what's the imagined world like? Where do you see the world, especially the contract, the legal tech, the legal ops? Where do you see going? Let's say in 2 to 3 years, right? I'm not saying 5 to 10 years because the way the technology is developing. So 2 to 3 years, what else are we yet to solve for legal ops? What else are we yet to solve for our workflows?
Um, yeah, utilization of people resources and using AI to um, really um, send out work in a thoughtful, meaningful way that makes sense based on bandwidth. So intake processes um, are going to be big, I think, and we're going to figure out how to do those much better. Um, but the way it's really changing is that data can be held in a repository and the AI can just go to work with the data.
Mm,
So I think structured data will become less and less important over time. It's obviously very important right now that our data is structured and clean when we're having AI reference it, but I think over time that will change. I think AI will be able to structure the data for us. So having structured data to begin with won't be as important in the future. These are just predictions. But we'll be able to put all of our data in a place and let the AI go to work with it. So you may not have to separate your contracts from your other documents from anything. The AI may be able to go in there and just take care of all of that for you. Um, that would be interesting because suddenly organizations could be organized. When that's very rarely the case now.
So, like, I know you contribute a lot to Clock. You are like focused on education around these. So, like, what else fascinates you about the community that's coming up? And how do we make sure this community is actively, like you said, curiosity is one. The learning is one. They have this bent of mind that they are like flexible. The growth mindset is what you spoke about. uh, when you work with people, like new people coming in into the organization, working with you, uh, what challenges do you see right now, and where do you think we should take that community forward?
Yeah, it's really the younger generations coming up that you think about the differences between the generations, and um, there's good things that the younger generations are bringing to the table. For example, they know really well how to write prompts in large language models,
Yeah.
whereas
Better.
some of the older or more experienced people in other ways might not have that capability. At the same time, that they work differently. The younger generations work differently. They do things differently. They expect more flexibility in their days. So it's really about making sure that we are um, keeping in mind the differences in the generations and the cultures that come in, and that we're offering um, education and an opportunity to learn in this field to everyone, regardless of their background or their generation or whatever they bring to the table, that we're offering them an opportunity to learn the full spectrum of what they should be learning to be successful in this field, whether that be hard knowledge on a certain subject or soft skills that need to be learned, which are also very important. I will make a quick plug for a book that Prashant Dubey and I just released called Gen O, The Rise of Legal Operations. And we talk a lot about the soft skills in that book that are really important.
Was it just launched, Mike, the book? Yeah.
Yeah, it was about a couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
Our
Awesome.
official launch is next month, but yeah, it's on Amazon now.
Cool, cool. Thank you. Thank you. I think
Yeah.
we have about like thanks a lot, Mike. That's very insightful. So we have about 6 minutes to end the session. So we could take a few questions. Yeah, I'm just going to quickly look. Um, okay, there seem to be no questions. Were there any questions? One second. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. What do Yeah, do you want to take the question, Mike? What do 500 Fortune 500 companies have in common in terms of processes relating to legal operations? Yeah. Do you think that
Um,
despite
yeah, we typically use a lot of law firms. So outside counsel management processes are critical in most Fortune 500 companies. We leverage e-billing and matter management software to stay on top of the management of those outside counsel matters. That's very important. Also, most Fortune 500 companies have a lot of contracts, and we leverage contract lifecycle management technology to help us store and create and negotiate all of our agreements. We automate as much of that as we can through workflow automation technology. Some organizations are using a fragmented solution. We prefer to leverage the workflow functionality within our CLM tool, which is robust. So workflow automation, in addition to contract management, in addition to e-billing and matter management, is all very important. We also, in any good legal operations program, you should be leveraging data visualization technology to report metrics and analytics to leaders and teams so that they can make informed, data-driven decisions. That's a really important function of Fortune 500 legal operations as well. So those are just some of the big ones. There are other things, obviously, but yeah, you should see our technology map of our organization. It's there's a lot of different things going on.
Awesome. Awesome. So another question, Mike. What advice do you have for companies that are just starting to explore legal tech? Yeah.
Good question. Start talking to people who have done this before, who have built out programs in organizations before. You don't want to boil the ocean. You don't want to try to do everything at once. Technology implementations can be hard and are a lot of work. So make a strategic plan for what technology you want to adopt first and second and third. Align with your organization on that plan, and then just get started. Just start implementing the most basic technology, whether you want to start with e-billing or whether you want to start with contract management or whatever. Just start, because it will compound over time, and you'll start to see the fruits and the ROI in automating all your processes.
Awesome. Awesome, Mike. There's one more question, one last question. How do companies handle the increasing complexity of global legal operations and foster a culture of continuous improvement within their legal departments? I think, yeah, that makes sense, because you're now globally handling legal operations. What are those complexities that you're handling, and how?
There are different rules and different ways you need to approach things in different parts of the world. So it does add a layer of complexity, but it really is about, for me, making sure that my high-level vision and the mission, the priorities that it's going to take to achieve that vision, are set in stone, and that the team understands them, and that we have a roadmap. So whether you're just starting out or whether you're going global, you need to have that roadmap so that you can it can be a frame of reference for you all along the way, because without that, the complexity will probably get the best of you, and you become overwhelmed. But really, it's like, okay, we're rolling out our program in EMEA. Here are the considerations we have to address in rolling out the program in EMEA, and that's all part of the roadmap. That's all. That's the next phase, and everybody understands that. So it's really about planning and prioritizing and sticking to your plan.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for first of all, like, accepting to talk to us, and also like answering all the questions that we have. I would like to be like connected with you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Do you have any closing remarks or thoughts to add? to the participants, for us, for the community. Yeah.
I'll just say thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk about legal operations, and I love the enthusiasm and support that we're getting for legal operations in all over the world, including in India and other parts of Asia. So we're very grateful for all of you, and let's stay in touch and let's do a conference over there sometime.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Bye.